Hello, good evening. Welcome to 8 p.m. on Sundays Live. We are here. I hope you're having a good Sunday so far. I did. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me check it myself. We're good. We're good. So I hope y'all are having a great Sunday. Did you cook today? We're good. So I hope you did. I did. I cooked. Um, I rested. Got a chance to sit outside, enjoy some rain. Um, we have a lot on the agenda tonight. If we don't get calls, I have a good, if you've already read the description, you'll see I have a good lineup, a great agenda for us to get into tonight. The link, of course, is in the chat. Let me double check. Yep, it's in the chat for you to come up. As we've discussed before, 8 p.m. on Sundays Live is about getting people to talk through stuff, right? We're trying to get away from all of the noise and make sense of things. Talking to somebody with a sound mind and a trained ear. So feel free to tap that link. You could come up video or audio. It's up to you. I don't have a preference. I'm open either way. If we don't get calls, I have content, as you can see in here, Straw. I want to touch on that movie, as well as talk about conformity. But before we jump into those two topics, I'm going to ask, did you do your homework from last Sunday, your actionable item? Let me put that in here. Did you do your homework? What was your homework? Your homework was to apply the things we talked about in the last Sunday Live. Grounding. Did you apply that technique to your life? To reduce stress, to be the best you can be. Every time you leave, there will be something to take away that's going to level you up in your life mentally, if not in the other domains, but certainly mentally. So at any time, if you're on the live, you can click the link to come up. If this is a playback, you, of course, cannot click the link to come up because you will be rewatching what we've already done tonight. Well, then let's just jump right into it. Remember, we have fillers in between calls. If somebody calls while I'm talking about, while I'm actually in mid sentence on the topic, I will stop and we'll get right to the calls. So let's talk about straw for a brief moment. Straw was intense. It's my type of topic, my type of thought provoking topic. Actresses, actors did a great job at driving home the message. My thought about it, just on the surface, is we see this often. I talk to people women who may experience these very things often. And I'm sure you come across, if you don't live in a community of women who experience this often. Um, there were some great messages in it. I did hear people mention something about she was at the end experiencing grief psychosis. I would go further as a practitioner, a clinician, and say there was disassociation, just detached, disassociated from reality due to trauma. Everything, all that trauma just built up, and you just disassociate. You can't deal anymore. Or you're still, that was so deep. You're still in the process of going through your routine, not even knowing you have disassociated. So that was a powerful message. And I'm sure the target, I'm not sure um, Tyler Perry was saying all women, but we know the single black woman is resilient sometimes to a fault. Traumatic event after traumatic event, and you keep going. You keep going like nothing's going on. Another message is not feeling like you're able to ask for help. People don't mind helping those who are trying to help themselves. We know Taraji's character. We know Janiyah was trying to help herself. She was working. She was doing the best she could for her child. Now, they never said anything about the father who was absent. We know that she was trying to do her best. And life just kept spiraling out of control for her. Um, the message there is when you know you're doing all you can do, trust me, people do not mind helping you. You have people out there like myself who have a heart, who are empathetic, and can discern and pick up on when somebody's bull coning or if they truly need help. And they'll help. Now, that's not for us to get out and tell all of our good deeds. That's not for the world to know. But just trust, if you are someone who can relate to Janiyah's story, just know you are seen, you have been heard, and there are people out there who can help and who are willing to help. But you have to take the first step and ask for that help and reach out for those resources. There are resources for women who experience these hardships, especially when you're doing what you need to do, when you're doing all that you can do. I just wanted to touch on that. What else could I say about Straw before we move on? Yeah, the fact that just in general, many Black women don't ask for help. They just keep going and going, very resilient. Um, Not even trying to take anything from anybody. Look at the opportunities Janiyah had in Straw to get money in an unethical, immoral way. Immoral way. Robbing the bank, which she didn't rob the bank, but the silly teller was making a big deal. And, you know, we don't know her traumatic event and her trigger to weapons. So, to her credit, that may have been a natural reaction for somebody. But we know Janiyah was not truly robbing the bank. She only wanted her check cashed. That was something. She had many opportunities to take lump sums of money and still all she wanted was help. All she wanted was that check. All she wanted was to do what she needed to do so that she could meet her obligations. Through all the trauma, she's still maintaining a righteous character. That was powerful, a powerful statement. Also, at the end, not just um, mentioning the disassociation or the grief psychosis, a lot of people pointed out, because comorbidity is a thing. She can definitely be experiencing more than one thing at a time. Not just that, I also pick up on a spiritual message, right? You have a choice, you have to choose. And given all of these experiences and having cues, one thing after the next to come up, at some point, there was a time to stop and say, okay, I need to get ahead of this. There was a choice to be made at the end. That's what I got out of that. You can choose life or you can choose death. What choices are going to lead you to death and what choices will lead you to a fruitful life? I love the fact that another woman, black woman, was married, had a family, and was compassionate and understanding and willing to take her child, even though she knew she was already gone, into custody. That was another powerful thing. It does take a village. It takes a village, but you'll hear the opposite of that in the world now because the world's heart has waxed cold. And we know we should never let our heart wax cold and we should never grow weary in doing good. Nobody's perfect, but that's a reminder that we have to do what we're put here and called to do, and that's to treat each other right and love one another, not to take advantage of people. And she didn't take advantage of anyone. She was just trying to do make ends meet. She was still helping the unhoused man, the homeless man, which was Sinbad's character, giving him the little change she had, even in her own struggles. That's the story of us. That's the story of us. We'll give our last. So powerful movie. Um, Message was strong. The message hit home. We see, we hear. And those of us who know what time it is, step up, step up. And I'll leave that there. Now, let's see. We're going to jump right on into conformity. Conformity is going to be such a great topic tonight because everything that's going on with the trial and all these other things we see in the world, conformity is to be explored. But before we really get into it, I want you to pick one. Now, you can't pick both. And I want you to type in the comment whether you're watching this live or on a playback what which one you picked. Put it in the comment. All right, you got it? Good. Prisoner or guard? Because we're going to go over something that's going to be eye opening. Maybe you've seen this before, maybe you haven't. But I'm going to go over it in my own way, in the way that I do things. And it might resonate with someone. It might open the eyes of someone. It may have you to see different. So let's get into it.
Would you rather be a guard or a prisoner?
I don't think I have the qualities to be a guard.
Prisoner.
Prisoner, I guess.
Prisoner. Sounds like it would be a little less work.
Prisoner.
Why's that?
Nobody likes guards.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This experiment will be an extension of my research into the effects prisons can have on human behavior.
You're going to be pleased to know that you all have been chosen to be the prison guards.
But under no circumstances whatsoever are you to physically assault the prisoners in any way. So remember, just as you were watching the prisoners, my graduate staff and I will be watching you.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to have ourselves a lot of fun.
Rule number 1, prisoners must remain silent.
This is an exercise period.
Okay, is it just me, or are these guys taking this thing a bit too seriously? Why don't you give me 20 push-ups?
Look at this guy. Thinks he's John Wayne or something.
You address me as Mr. Correctional Officer.
This might be an interesting 2 weeks after all.
Why didn't you make up your bunk, 8612?
I did, Mr. Correctional Officer.
Well, that's not what I see.
Hey, what are you doing here? Just me!
What was that?
You just hit him. You're not supposed to hit him.
Should we step in? No. Let the guards figure it out. Let's see where it goes.
Good evening, gentlemen. How about we make this one a night to remember?
This is all real. They won't let you go. They won't let us leave.
Those are not prisoners. Those are not subjects. Those are boys, and you are harming them.
Let me out of here! I want out! I want out now! You thought you were gonna get some playtime in the yard, boy? Is that what you thought this was gonna be?
I had no idea it would turn out this way.
Okay, so you saw the trailer to that experiment, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Conformity. This experiment was done in 1971 by a psychologist, Philip Zimbardo. Now, Zimbardo wanted to test or find out, he had a hypothesis. Do people behave a way due to their environment, or do they behave a way because they're inherently evil or inherently defiant? Are they oppositionally defiant by nature? So here we go with this nature versus nurture argument. And me, being a psych scholar, I love it. Now, my very first time, I didn't know what I was going to do with my schooling, with career. I just started. After I had my children, I went back and I didn't know what I was going to do. But my first day in my social psychology class is when I knew this was going to be the path I take. In that social psychology course is where I very first learned about this experiment. And it stuck with me. I still know it like the back of my hand because I was so interested and intrigued in how people behave, why people do what they do, what make people tick, why people do what they do. That was the question. And that took me on the journey up until now. From that associates to that bachelor's to that master's, and I took a break at the PhD. It's a lot of work, but I was intrigued with the topic and the theories, right, of society, basically, and social psychology. My degree is in psychology and counseling, so this is right where I need to be. So I wanted to talk about that tonight because it has a lot to do. We're going to come back full circle with this experiment. Now, Zimbardo is a psychologist at Stanford. He had a hypothesis. Do people's behavior have an effect on their environment or vice versa? Or are they inherently bad or evil people? He put an ad in the paper to recruit people to do this experiment, to recruit college guys. They were all men, and I think about 70 something answered back. 76 men answered back. Only 24 were selected randomly. Okay, it's not a huge sample of all men in the world, but it's a micro study. It's not a huge one to study the world, but just to kind of get an idea, right? We always want to get a pulse on something. So 24 men made the cut. The others did not because they were either disabled or they already experienced mental illness, had some mental disadvantage going on, and other reasons, other extraneous variables that needed to be weeded out to have a good experiment. So only 24 made the cut. Now, they briefed them on what was going to happen in the experiment. They accepted. We call that an informed consent, because you have to write to the review board, internal review board, to get approval for these type of studies. Anything studying human subjects, we have to go to the review board and say, this is what we want to do. Here are the risks. Here are the implications. Here is what we're studying. This is what we believe will be the outcome, or whatever the case may be. You have to get all of that approved. And then you have to provide the participants informed consent so that they are aware of what they're getting themselves into. Now, they accepted the study. And boy, it just went downhill. Zimbardo had the men arrested. So because they were randomly selected, they knew they were participating, but they didn't know when they would be picked up, what was going to happen next. So what happened was they were picked up in the police cars, the prisoners. We had prisoners and we had guards. Remember, I asked you that question in the beginning. Make sure you type in the comments which one you're picking, hypothetically. We don't want to be either one of them, do we? But for this video's sake, we're going to pick one. He had them picked up in real police cars, handcuffed them right where they were, and brought them to the mock prison, which was the basement of the university. They set it up just like a prison. I mean, just like one. They strip searched the prisoners, participants, and they gave the guards all the things they needed, a baton. They even gave them glasses for anonymity. You know, I don't like when people wear glasses talking to you unless you've seen their eyes first. They gave them glasses, batons, everything they needed to be a prison guard. And they stripped the prisoners of their identity. We call that de-individuation. Strip them of their identity. How did they do that? By giving them a number. So they were called a number, not by their name. They no longer had an identity. They were a prisoner. For example, prisoner 8422. The spin number, basically. They call you by your number, not your name. No identity now. This is the first thing they did, strip them. of the identity. Then they gave them a uniform. Everybody wear the same thing. This was back in 71, so it was a gown. Then they gave them something to cover their head up with. Stocking cap. This is them here. Covered their heads, all kind of things. So things were going good at first. This is just an experiment. We're going on. We're just coasting along until one day someone, like you saw in a short clip, had an incident and kind of hemmed up the guard. The guard retaliated with force. There is where everything started, where the guards assumed the role of aggressive guards and the prisoners as submissive. Now, I didn't want to forget anything, so let me see. The guards received their uniforms, their batons, their sunglasses to enhance authority. Now, this is a study of conformity. The results were the guards became abusive, enforcing harsh rules and humiliating the prisoners. They would do all kinds of things, mocking, sexual behaviors, the prisoners show signs of emotional distress, rebellion, and passive compliance. The guards embraced sadistic tendencies. Pay attention to this now. Prisoners developed anxiety or depression. That's what happened during the study. This was supposed to be a 2-week study, 14 days. It got so bad, y'all, that they had to cut it short in 6 days. 6 days they had to stop it because they were becoming too real with their parts. There are ethical concerns with this study because although informed consent was given, the intensity of the behavior was not shared. And it had a huge impact on both prisoners and guards. In the debrief, they didn't even know, it's like something had taken over them, possession or something. They didn't even realize being good people that they could turn into such a monster in such a short time frame. Psychology, I love it because it goes deep. And while most people look at the surface of something, you're looking deeper into it. For instance, you have victims that people want to know, well, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you leave? And why did you allow this to happen? And you had ample time to get out of there. And no. Once you're stripped of your identity, once you're put underfoot of perceived power or perceived authority, you take on the role to survive. Again, disassociation. You disassociate to survive. And so you find yourself in a loop, in a cycle, like they did during this study. I think a lot of the pimp mentality and a lot of these things that are happening today got its roots from this study right here. How to break a person, how to get them to submit, how to get them to conform to behaviors that they would not even think they could do. Started right here, right with this study. Milgram is another one. We'll talk about that another time. That's the study of obedience, why people blindly obey. This is conformity. Why do people join in and conform to things they know are harmful? So, ethics, bad. Um, what do I want to say about the study? Yeah. So you have people that stay in stuff because of the power dynamic, the perceived power. Not that they truly have power, it's the perceived power and how we interpret what we think power looks like and what we should be doing with a person in a powerful position. We can see that today. But not just the person who's being subjugated. I will go even further to ask what happened to the perpetrator? Who had them underfoot or subjected them? Where did they learn this behavior? Because it gets pretty deep. The results, again, of this study, the guards became abusive. They enforced harsh rules and they humiliated prisoners. The prisoners showed signs of emotional distress, rebellion, or passive compliance. Some guards embraced sadistic tendencies. Prisoners developed anxiety and depression. Zimbardo, who is the psychologist, was also the superintendent. So he was already in multiple roles in this study. That was an ethical boundary crossed in the first place. They didn't give proper informed consent because the prisoners didn't know how intense they would experience this behavior. Um, and this explains real world abuse in prisons, workplaces, and institutions and relationships. I remember my dad when he was here alive on this plane with us, on earth with us. He would always say, and he taught me to cook. Don't no man want no woman who can't cook. So my dad taught me how to cook. Not only that, my dad also said, make sure I work. You see how someone with all the financial resources could be in a powerful position, whereas their partner is beholden to their will, like whatever, because they don't have a voice. They don't have a voice because they cannot support themselves, depending on the person. We would think more people than not would be accommodating and open and loving and mature about things, but no. There are certain environments that invoke a certain personality. With the right environment and the right mindset can be explosive. So you give a man or sometimes a woman unlimited or immense resources, they will abuse that power. They will abuse that power and try to subjugate a person. Just like this experiment. And my daddy would say, make sure you work, get your life in order, um, have things, and be a team. My dad never told me to run over a man and not work with the man and have teamwork and have some decorum about myself. But he did stress that I need to be ambitious and have drive and not depend on a man's finances. And we see why, because we see power as force, but that power dynamic could also be finances. Yeah, could be those finances. And that's what we see, the tug of war and the struggle. And my dad was born in the 60s. So he knows some things. He saw some things. And I'll talk about that noble woman, that woman of noble character, the highest degree of model we could follow as women another time. I think I might do it on my private site. Yes, ladies, ambition and drive, that's what you want. Soft, no. Meaning, I mean, you can have a little, let me retract that. We can have soft lives and be ambitious and have drive and um, be industrious, like that noble woman, like that woman of noble character who provided and submitted at the same time. We'll talk about that on my private lifegiggles.social. I think I'll do a full video on that sometime this week. So lifegiggles.social is where all of that other content will be. So yeah, we have that power dynamic that we see and people struggle. Especially when they don't feel like they have anything to contribute, even if it's not finances. Just showing up being a huge support for somebody is enough. Sometimes. It all depends on the dynamic you're in, whether that's family, relationship, friendship, work. It just depends. Conformity. Can you think of a time you conformed and did something? I know y'all ain't gonna say it on here though, but I just want you to think about it. Just think of a time you conformed to other people's will, their behavior, the things they wanted to do that you know wouldn't be something you would just do on your own. What have you conformed in? Take note of it and do some introspection. Looking back at it, not that you're judging it, you're not doing anything with it, but looking at it. What did you do? Why? What can you look back on and say, I was lacking here? Was it self-esteem? Was it self-worth? With the guards, what would make them just start putting the prisoners on this study in the hole, neglecting them, not feeding them, all types of things these guards did? Why would they do that? Knowing this was an experiment, they assumed the role of aggressive, angry prison guards. And the prisoners assumed the role of submissive, inept, incapable, docile prisoners. Why? Why was it so easy for them to assume the roles? Now, I wonder if this was a double blind experiment, because some would argue that this study was staged because it got so out of hand. The double blind part, the other part of that would be, were they really studying the staff who were overseeing the experiment to see what they would do, if they would step in and stop it or allow it to keep going? There was a lady there, his assistant, who actually stopped it, said, hey, we can't have this going on, as you saw in the short clip. These are students. So it could have been a double-blind experiment where they were actually looking at both, and neither one really knew what was being studied. It's to be pondered on. But just look at today. You see men now wanting to be the breadwinner, the sole breadwinner, when we already know the numbers, we know the stats, we know the U.S. labor statistics. Folks gotta work. There is no way you're going to survive. The average man is going to survive with the one income. And you need to. Two are always better than one. The hunger for power is what this is about. Subjugation is what this is about. If they can strip women of finances and income, ambition and drive, they have to sit and accept whatever comes their way. This is not about wanting to provide solely. It's solely about power and domination, which makes it malicious. Makes it malicious. Ladies, continue to get your bag. And we'll go deeper into this on lifegiggles.social. I'll tell you why and where it's coming from. Power dynamic. That's what this study was about. And that's where these people think we're going back to. And negative. That's going to be a negative. Teamwork is where it's at. For one, no woman wants her husband dog tired. And any man who says, I'm going to be gone all the time, providing. I'm doing this and that, and you're not going to see me and think their wife is supposed to be excited about that. Negative as well. That's unacceptable. If you're calling yourself a protector, how can you protect somebody gone away from home all the time? Protector. And it's neglect. And neglect, abandonment, and infidelity are grounds for bye-bye. So don't do that. I keep giving little nuggets, but I'm going to wait until over lifegiggles.social. So y'all check it out over there where I'll go into depth about this topic. Because we're going to talk about conformity a little more. Now, these people were so traumatized after this study. For one, they couldn't believe the behavior of their peers. Two, they couldn't believe their own behavior. They couldn't believe it. The violence that they experienced. The violence, the emotional damage, the physical damage. It was a lot. It really was a lot. So this is why we study things, to see how far people will go in their behavior. And we see this in workplaces, we see this in institutions, we see this in real world, also prisons. With bullying at the job, you see cult dynamics, industry dynamics. It's like this is where they got it from, the Zimbardo study. If we do this, if we strip them of their identity, if we assign them a number, put them in a cult-like outfits, everybody wear the same thing. No unique identity, just socialism. Everything the same. Remember, it ended in 6 days. That's how bad it was when it was supposed to go for 2 weeks. Let's see. I think that's it on conformity. I do want you to think of a time you conformed. And I'm just going to sit and give an extra few minutes in case somebody comes in last minute. I'll see y'all next time. Oh, please leave a comment. Please share. Again, every Sunday, 8 p.m. on Sundays Live. If you missed the live, you have to catch the playback. I knew there may or may not be someone tonight because we have people celebrating Father's Day, don't we? Celebrating or fighting. So we'll be back next Sunday. But I'm going to leave it open because I said I'm going to be here the hour and I'm going to be here the hour. But we're going to listen to some music up until the hour in case somebody comes through. All right. It is 8:57. That means we're about to get out of here tonight. Just to recap, we talked a little bit about straw and how, if you can, if you're that stable person, someone who can mentor or who can just be a support to women like Janiyah in the movie Straw, do so. Step up. You know what time it is, especially with all the rhetoric that's being spewed over the Prince of the Air. We know who that is. Um, so we know what the call is. Let's step up. Also, conformity. Be mindful of what you're conforming to and what you're engaging in. Just because the crowd is doing it doesn't mean that's the way to go. And just because you're given a role that may be a powerful role, just keep in mind, power is all about perception. It's about perception. So you can have a title, you can have the money, you can have the fame, you can have all these things. That does not equate to power. It's perceived and it's set up and packaged in a way that makes you and a person who's not thinking critically or have self-worth or are confident in self to see that as power. And when a person sees that you are struck on power and the other things, the other attributes that they throw at you that are false, that's when they hook you. And we can see that in today. So Zimbardo's study is very important, highly important to look at, to see the root to how these things develop. Remember, the prisoners and the guards had no idea they would turn out to be the monsters they turned out to be. They were shocked. They were appalled. I'm a human. I did that to another human? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. All right, y'all. Time. I'll see you here next Sunday. I know today was going to be a little funny because it's a holiday for a lot of you. But I wanted to come anyway because you just never know. You never know. I'll see you here next Sunday. Have an amazing rest of your evening and week.